everyone. My name is Serene Kiblawi. I'm a nutrition educator with the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. And today I have with me a special guest, Allison Nalepka.
Hi everyone, my name is Allison Nalepka and I am a data coordinator with the Community Food Bank of New Jersey's SNAP-Ed program.
And today, in honor of Garden Month, National Garden Month, we are going to be making two recipes that are rich in fruits and vegetables, especially garden vegetables that you can grow in your own garden or find easily in any farmer's market or in any grocery store. So I'm going to be starting with a recipe for a beef stir fry.
And for myself, once Serene gets going, I'm going to be making a dessert, which I've actually had a little sample right here. It's going to be a blueberry muffin, and this is going to take about 5 minutes to prepare.
So I've preheated my wok here, but you don't have to use a wok, you can use a regular frying pan. And I'm going to eyeball about a tablespoon of oil, and I'm going to start with frying and seasoning my beef. Now this is a lean cut of beef that I have purchased in my grocery store, very affordable, and I cut it into very thin strips in order for it to cook very quickly. I'm going to season it with some pepper. But I'm not going to use any salt in this right now because I'm going to be making a stir-fry sauce that has soy in it, which has a high sodium content.
Alrighty, and while Serene's going and making that, I'm going to start preparing the dry ingredients for the blueberry muffin. So our base is going to be flour, but any alternative you can use is browned flaxseed or almond meal. So the recipe calls for about 4 tablespoons, so I'm going to add that directly into the muffin, into the mug. But before I do that, I'm going to just spray down my mug with a non-stick spray. This is butter, but you can use really any non-stick baking spray as well.
I love this recipe, Allison. I can't think of something easier and nicer than feeling like dessert and knowing that you can make it in a few minutes.
Absolutely, and I just love this recipe because there's so many ways you can make variations to it. So this one is calling for blueberries, but you can really make any sort of fruit variation as well. So you can add bananas, you can add strawberries, which we have here. There's really an endless amount of possibilities you can make with this dish.
That sounds delicious. And my beef here looks like it's cooking through. The wonderful thing about a stir fry is that it's ready in a few minutes. I'm going to add my onions since these take the most to cook. And I'm just going to add it directly to my beef. I've pre-chopped 1 red onion, about this size, about a medium to a large size. And I will let that cook for a couple of minutes as well.
Alrighty, and then for the rest of the dry ingredients for our muffin, we're going to use some cinnamon. And so this recipe calls for 1/2 teaspoon. And so I'm just going to take the top off of my cinnamon here and use my measuring and just get that and put it directly in. And so we're going to want to mix all of our dry ingredients first, and then we'll add our wet ingredients directly and then mix it all together before we put it in the microwave. And then also 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. And this will help everything rise in the microwave when we put it in.
So when you're making a stir fry, it's always a good idea to do it on the highest heat possible so that your veggies cook quick but stay crisp. You also want to, oops, my stove went off there for a second, sorry. Let's do that. Okay. You also want to add your sauce at the end. And this way, especially if your sauce contains garlic and ginger like mine does, you don't want to burn these in the high heat at the beginning. So if you add them to the sauce and then you let them cook with the sauce for a minute or two, that is more than enough to preserve their flavor and to keep the sauce fresh.
I can smell it already. It smells delicious.
It smells
Marian.
really good. Thank you.
Alrighty, so almost done with our blueberry muffin over here. I'm just mixed the dry ingredients together, and now we're going to add all of our wet ingredients. So the first thing we need is 1 egg, and so I'm just going to crack it on the side here and just directly put it in. And then with that eggshell, I'm just going to directly throw it out. And so everything we can just mix directly into our mug, but you can also use any microwave safe cup as well. But we like to have the little special mugs as well. Just make sure they are microwave safe when you are using them. And we also have some honey as well, so we'll add a teaspoon or a tablespoon of this. And so you can use any sort of sweetener, but I chose honey in this sense. And this is just a great sense, or a great source of natural sugars. And so that'll slowly go in there. I'm gonna let it just pour in, nice and slow there.
There's something satisfying about honey pouring from a tablespoon.
It really is.
It's a bit hypnotizing.
I really agree. But yes, I'm gonna take the rest of that with the fork and just take that out. And then I'm going to just start to mix that all together.
So on this end here, my onions are starting to become a little softer. We don't want them to go totally translucent. I like a little bit of crunch to the onion, and we need to remember that we're still going to cook some more veggies with it as well. I have here pre-cut some peppers. I chose different colors, but they were all small sized, a small sized yellow, orange, and red pepper. And I'm going to go ahead and add these to my stir fry.
And it just makes the dish so colorful, too. Just adding all of those different vegetables in, you can just see the dish light up.
Exactly. And feel free to use any vegetables that you have on hand. And just like Allison mentioned, different colors mean different nutrients in the different foods that you use. So I love the visual appeal as well as the nutritious appeal of this dish. Feel free to use corn, feel free to use peas. We are, towards the end of this, we are also going to use some snap peas, but we like those to stay crunchy, so I will just add them at the end.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so before we pop this blueberry muffin into our microwave, we have to add A, our blueberries, and B, I wanted to add one more ingredient that isn't in the original recipe, but I think it calls for a little bit of vanilla extract. I just think it helps make this dish and make the muffin just taste a lot sweeter, and it just adds a little bit more depth to it as well.
I
so
agree.
I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of that vanilla extract, put it in here. And then once I have that mixed thoroughly, I'm going to add in our pre-washed blueberries. And so we washed them this morning. We don't suggest washing them until right before using them, just because sometimes the blueberries can get a little bit soggy, especially if you wash them like as soon as you bring them home from the store.
I've had that happen before.
So I'm going to be very generous with the amount of blueberries I put in here, just because I'm a blueberry fan. And so I'm just going to kind of fold that into our mixture here. And it is now ready to go into our microwave. So depending on how strong your microwave is, it's anywhere between 60 seconds to 90 seconds. And so our microwave is over here, so I'm just going to pop it right in, and I'm going to put it in for 1 minute.
Okay, and so while Allison is doing that, I'm going to go ahead and make the sauce for our stir fry. So the base of any Asian-inspired stir fry is soy sauce. So I'm going to add about 1/4 cup of soy sauce to my measuring cup, and I'll just do it very quick, very directly, just because I already have the measures on the cup. And I'm using a low sodium soy sauce because soy sauce tends to have a lot of salt. And that's about 1/4 cup, which is around 4 tablespoons if you're using a tablespoon measure. And I'm going to put an equal amount, so another 4th cup of water to this. Again, another way to kind of have more sauce, but with a reduce the sodium content a little bit. And that would be my base, which is my salty element. And then I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons of rice vinegar. This will be my sour element to the sauce. And I found this in my grocery store. It's a rice vinegar with some chili added to it. These days, you can just go into the ethnic aisle of your supermarket or your grocery store, and you will easily find these ingredients, and they are quite affordable. And you don't only have to confine them to use for Asian-inspired recipes. You can use this as a part of your salad dressing too. You can use soy to replace the salt in your salad dressing as well. So I've got my salty element, I've got my sour element. Now I'm going to get some honey from my sweet element in this dressing, and I'm just going to add 1 tablespoon.
And while Serene is having that poured out, I just wanted to show everybody how our blueberry muffin
Oh my
looks.
goodness, that looks
It's
amazing.
very fresh. I had to put it in for a little bit longer because it wasn't fully cooked at the top. But just to make sure everything is cooked right, I'm just going to put a little toothpick, do our toothpick test. And if it needs to be put in a little bit longer, we can do that. But I think this one is good to go. Yep, we got a clean toothpick. So this is ready to eat. But I'm going to let it cool off for a little bit, just so we can have our stir fry to start, and then our blueberry will be for dessert.
Thanks, Allison. I can't wait. So I put my soy, I've put my vinegar, and I've put my honey. And now for my spice element to this sauce, that is going to be some grated ginger. I've grated, so ginger is a root. It is used often in Asian-inspired cooking. It has a spiciness and a juiciness, and it's got a very unique taste. And what I did was I just used a grater, and I grated about this size of ginger, and I've grated 2 cloves of garlic. And those are going to give the spice and the flavor to my sauce. And finally, I'm just going to add a little bit of cornstarch, and cornstarch is going to give this shiny, silky feeling and sticky feeling to my sauce so that it's not too liquidy. That's that consistency that you find sometimes when you do takeout. And I'm just putting 1 teaspoon of cornstarch. I will mix all that together. I will add my peas because my peppers are cooked enough right now. And these peas came washed. They are sugar snap peas. They are sweet. They are full of vitamins. I'll give this a stir. I love the colors in this dish. They say that you eat with your eyes before you even taste the food, and I think if you try to make your food appealing with fresh ingredients, whatever you have on hand, it makes the experience even more special. Feel free to make this dish with beef, with leftover chicken. This is a wonderful dish to be made with leftovers, leftover vegetables. You can make it with pork. Try to choose leaner cuts so that you decrease saturated fat. And I'm going to pour our sauce on top of this. I'll give it a little stir. Cover it for a second and let the sauce come to a boil. That should take about a minute.
Yeah. It smells very good. I know I said that earlier, but now
It really
I
does.
feel like it's filling up the whole room, and I have a feeling people will be filtering in here.
Oh my goodness. Right next to our stir fry, we are going to have some brown rice. So in your supermarket, if you go, or in your grocery store, if you go into the rice aisle, you will find many kinds of rice. You will find basmati, you will find white, short grain, long grain. You will find brown rice as well. For this recipe, I chose long grain brown rice. Brown rice is a whole grain rice, which means it is rice that has not been stripped of the bran part of the grain, and which means that it will be higher in fiber than your white rice. The only drawback to brown rice, in my opinion, is just the cooking time. It takes a little bit longer to cook, around 35 to 45 minutes. But all you have to do is just follow the instructions on the package, and that's what I did when I did this morning. I cooked a cup of rice in a tablespoon of olive oil, you can use butter, and 2 cups of water. And I just let it simmer on its own while I was getting ready. So it really does not take much effort, just a little bit more time. It tastes just as good, and it keeps you full longer because of its fiber content. And I think, let's check on this. I think our dish is ready. So as you can see, it was a quick stir fry. This can easily feed a family of 4. It is wonderful for a weeknight dinner. And the only effort that you have to make is just chop up a couple of vegetables, a couple of peppers, an onion, and use whatever vegetables and protein you have. Shall we have a taste?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let me just turn this off.
All right.
Let's start with the rice. So fluffing the rice with a fork, obviously, or with your spatula, just to make it easier to get out of your pan. Oh, I'm going to pour you some. Oh, thank you so much.
So kind.
I love doing stir fries. I used to think that Asian-inspired cooking was hard, but then once you learn that all you need is just a little balance of flavors, you know, salty, sour, sweet, spicy, it becomes so much easier. And you can make a lot of substitutions if you would like as well.
You know, I love how many possibilities, similar with the muffin and the stir fry. It's like you can add really whatever vegetables or fruits you'd like in either.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you very much.
You are welcome.
Smells
Shall
very
we?
good. Absolutely. Alrighty.
What do you think?
Very good.
There's enough salt in there from the soy sauce. You can taste the garlic, the ginger, which give like hints of a spiciness that is not hot. It's just a very nice flavor.
Absolutely.
And with the brown rice, you are making sure that this meal will be filling and more nutritious.
And last but not least,
I can't wait.
it'll be butter muffins. So this one will be yours.
Oh, thank you so much. Ooh.
And here, I've got your.
I'm going to hold it like this. Thank you.
Here. Cheers, everybody. I know it's hard to grasp.
But see, it's the consistency is amazing. It's a cake.
It is very cake-like.
Yeah.
And I think the vanilla helped a lot.
This is wonderful. It's easy to make. You can make it with stuff that you have on hand. If you feel like having a sweet treat, or you have kids like mine who want a sweet treat.
And you need something to make in under 5 minutes, you've got these ingredients and you can create it.
You do.
Absolutely.
And it's got the fruits, which is wonderful, full of vitamins and fiber. Blueberries are quite high in fiber. It's got the egg, which is a good source of protein and healthy fats. And it's got very little flour and the flavorings.
Absolutely. I think something also, just to wrap up with the National Garden Month, you can always use whatever fruits and vegetables are in current season. We always recommend looking at your local farmers markets and kind of seeing what's fresh and what's in season, because I think those definitely can help when preparing these sorts of dishes.
Definitely, and just as Allison said, you don't have to have a huge repertoire of recipes. You can always just vary one recipe and make many different dishes. And I think with this, we can just thank everybody for watching us. We can wish everybody happy spring, get out, be physically active, enjoy the beautiful weather, make some healthy meals, and thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.